Hi, welcome to my enameled glass tutorial. I'm going to show you how to use your Big Shot dies to make masks that you can use to work with this great technique. And I started with a piece of typing paper and went ahead and cut it out with my Big Shot. And
What I did was I took a piece of packing tape because I want the edges to be a little bit more solid. I took packing tape and I put these pieces back together. You can't even see them. And I put packing tape and I filled in this extra hole here so you can't go through here with your sponge. So that makes this a really nice mask. And I'm going to go ahead and set this on my card just like this. Now you can use a little bit of the repositionable adhesive to go ahead and stick your mask down, or you can just do this freehand. But I'm going to use 3 colors: Baja Breeze, Pear Pizzazz, and then a little Daffodil Delight. And this card idea came from my friend Betsy Kreider, who is a fabulous demonstrator, and she sent me this card, and I turned it into an easel for Stamp Club, and I just thought I had to share it with you because I love it. Okay, so Sponge Dauber, Baja Breeze, Swirl. Okay, you don't want to dabs because then you'll end up with little circular mistakes on your card. You want to kind of just twirl and wipe as you go. Now the edges of your paper will get a little bit damp, so you don't want to work them too hard. And you might need to go ahead and make yourself another mask. I find it's often best to wipe from off my project onto my project, and that helps to keep the edges of my stencil nice and tight to the paper. So you could also do this, since a Big Shot cuts all kind of materials, you could use a little piece of window sheet to make yourself a mask, or all kinds of things. But if you're just doing 1 or 2, this using typing paper is fine. Okay, so you can keep adding color until you're happy, more or less. And then when you want to go on to the next color, I'm going to take my Pear Pizzazz and a new Sponge Dauber for Pear Pizzazz. And these come in a package of 10, so I kind of like to keep one for greens and one for blues and so forth. You can wash them out if you want to because they're spongy, but yeah, that seems like a lot of work to me. They're 10 in a package, right? Okay, so I'm going to leave just a light line in the center for my Daffodil Delight. And so this is our last color. Now the shimmery white takes just a teeny bit longer to dry, so I don't want to brush back and forth a lot into my blue and green because they'll start to pick up on my Daffodil Delight here. Okay, but I want to get a nice yellow tone in the middle just to set off our blues and our greens. And again, I'm wiping from the edge of my mask onto my project so that I can keep the edges of my mask from peeling up while I'm working. Alright, now I'm not moving this yet because I don't want to have it shift on me. I'm going to take my staz-on black pad, and again, when you're using staz-on, there's this little plasticky piece. This is an important part of the package. It helps keep your pad moist. It keeps the ink from evaporating since it's solvent based. And I have my Upsy Daisy background here, these gorgeous little flowers. And I'm going to ink that up really well and then go ahead and stamp. Oops, make sure your mask doesn't move. I'm going to go ahead and stamp in that space. Okay. And there we have our Upsy Daisy, there we go, on our butterfly. I'm going to use my same stamp, Thank You for Your Friendship, and stamp that down here below in my nice black ink. Okay. And then I'm going to add, just because I like it, we'll add a Stampin' Up! Rhinestone. These little jewels are awesome. So make sure you pick up the adhesive dot when you pick it up with your fingernail or your pokey tool. And I'll stick that down. So we have our main card. Now you want to know how to do the easel fold. This is a really popular card and really easy to do. You need a half sheet of cardstock, cut the long way, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half here, okay? So now we have kind of like a normal card, right? But then I'm going to take the front and I'm going to fold it back up to the top. Alright, so we have sort of a half zigzag fold. See how that works? And then our card front is going to stick only to this top part like so. And usually I like to use a piece of sticky strip in there to make sure my card doesn't come apart. Make sure you're adhesive, but in the interest of television purposes, I'll just use snail. Make sure your adhesive doesn't go to the bottom half because you don't want it to stick here, only up to the top. And I'm going to go ahead and layer that like so. Remember, always smush from the back side so we don't smear anything. Okay, so there we have our pieces put together. And now what we want to do is we want to make it stay open since it wants to just kind of flop down. So to do that, I have a piece of Daffodil Delight cardstock and the butterfly punch. And I'm going to go ahead and attach this. Now it's going to have a little bit of pressure on it since when you're the person who gets your lovely card and thinks, oh, they made that. That was so nice. She's going to have it on her desk, or he's going to have it on her desk or by the telephone for a long time. So you want to make sure you use a good adhesive to stick your butterfly like the Stampin' Dimensionals. And then that edge there serves as the stop to hold the card from going flat again. So there's our little easel, and you could write your message here. And I have one last really cool thing that Betsy had on her card when she sent it to me, and that is crystal effects. And what that's going to do is it's going to make this look really, really gorgeous and impressive. So crystal effects is a great tool. When it comes, you're going to have to snip the lid, snip it as close to the tip as you can so you don't get globs of it coming out. Don't forget that there's a paper inside here that you have to take out too. So you'll snip this and you'll squeeze it and you'll think, why isn't it coming out? It's because there's another seal inside that you have to unscrew and take out. Now, after you've had it for a while, you're going to squeeze it and think, why isn't it coming out? And it's because the tip gets clogged. But this is my very fancy unclogger tool, otherwise known as a paper clip. And I actually just keep a piece of Scotch tape right on the side of my bottle, so it's always handy. And I'm going to poke this in here and poke it a few times to get it unclogged. Now, I've heard people say they store the paper clip in here. Not a good idea in my experience, because the paper clip, depending on what kind you're using, can get rusty from being in the crystal effects, and it will discolor your crystal effects. So, alright, put my tool right back where it belongs, uncloggy tool, and then I'm going to go ahead and use my crystal effects here. And we'll see if we can get a little closer for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take the tip, of my crystal effects. You don't want to shake your crystal effects because shaking it gives you bubbles. And I'm going to take it, I'm going to run all the way around the edge, and I'm going to start to fill in. And I always drag my crystal effects bottle towards me. I don't want to push it, whoa, blurb. I don't want to push it away from me. I don't want to try and push through the crystal effects. Does that make sense? I don't want to go this way because then it kind of pushes and makes a mess. But I'm going to use this tip to squish this around now. And as I get it filled in, I might go around to the edges and push it out, just nudge it out just a little bit. Now, if you have a blurby like this, sometimes before it starts to get real wet, you can take your finger and kind of push it back where it belongs. But you want to then go ahead and let this dry for probably about 24 hours. So this isn't like a make as you're going out the door kind of card. It's going to take a little longer than that. So, unless you have a really long time till you have to go out the door. I don't know about you, but my going out the door cards tend to be a little quicker than this one. Alright, so there we have our edges, or our main body, and then without squeezing too much, I'm just going to use the tip to sort of drag the crystal effects out nearer to the edge of my butterfly. Usually it doesn't spread much as it dries, so that you should feel a little bit safe with that. But I would definitely give it a good 24 hours to dry before you stick it in an envelope, because you don't want your envelope to stick to the card. Alright, now if you've made your easel already, then you might also want to go ahead and anchor this down. Just stick something on the end of it so that it doesn't come up to tilt when you're trying to wait for it to dry. Alright, so there is our card. I'll go ahead and show you the finished one here. And our crystal effects on the top, which gives it a really gorgeous shine on a cool technique with sponging masking. And there is our easel card. So a card with a whole lot of different techniques on it for you to try. Happy stamping!